Well, did you know that here in Louisiana, 1.7 million people lack access to this? That's broadband internet connectivity, and that's roughly 1/3 of the state's population. Many of them live in rural parts of Acadiana. Tonight, News 15 Investigates examines what we call the digital divide. Closing that gap has been a priority for government leaders for years, but here's where things currently stand.
Louisiana has ranked at the bottom of U.S. states when it comes to getting rural communities connected to high-speed broadband. The state has allocated over $1.3 billion from the bipartisan infrastructure bill, which is the largest program in Louisiana history to expand broadband statewide.
We've obligated $131 million to build to 66,000 locations throughout the parish, or throughout the state, rather. A significant majority of those locations are in very rural areas of Louisiana. A number of those locations are in your viewing area, frankly.
Now, according to Iinger, there are still 140,000 households and institutions that lack high-speed internet across the state. And there are many others who only have one option for broadband and are not happy with their service, like James Wheeler, who lives in Youngsville, and his only option is Cox Cable.
Previous weeks, we'd lose internet for an hour or so several times a week.
Wheeler says when he moved into this house 3 years ago, he realized he had an AT&T box in his yard signifying that he could get broadband through them. But when he calls, he gets this response.
I'm checking here for the address that you provided. It's been like, unfortunately, the fiber service is not yet available on this address.
Okay, thank you.
Over in Acadia Parish, Jay Domain is the operations manager at Reach 4 Communications in Crowley. They are a small fiber internet business who is always focused on connecting rural Acadia Parish.
We were doing this before the government even started giving money, back 20 years ago. We focused on the rural areas. We didn't focus on the high density areas. We didn't come into town in Crowley or Crane or Church Point. We went to the rural areas where people had nothing.
Domain says this massive government funding for broadband expansion does not necessarily help small fiber internet businesses like Reach 4.
It makes it more difficult for us because I don't know who's going to get funded and you don't know if they're going to build over you. So it's concerning for us.
Yeah. Now here in St. Landry Parish, there are many small rural communities that still don't have access to broadband, and it's a problem. You can't grow economically unless you have that connection.
St. Landry, for example, is big. It's 940 square miles, and all of that area isn't. So it's a process. It's probably not moving as quickly as people would like, but it's important. It's the future for a lot of these rural areas. We have to get them connected.
According to the Federal Communications Commission, in 2021, 82% of households in St. Landry Parish could get broadband, but only 22% actually had it. And in 2024, connectivity is still an issue.
The Palmetto, the Melville area up in there are some of these, still lacking in some areas of that connectivity with that. So there's a lot of efforts in play to get grant funding subsidy to be able to get that out there to those communities because it's important.
Now, if you live in a rural part of Acadiana and are still having issues with broadband, you can contact the Office of Broadband and Connectivity with any questions or concerns online at la.gov.